but that whatever gift you end up living out, single or married, you may live it in a right way, undivided devotion to the Lord. Paul keeps coming back here, that the most important thing in life is your relationship with God. He comes first, before marriage, before relations, before family, before job, before anything. I've loved seeing the heart and that commitment in some of our younger single members of staff here. Like our elementary director, Caleb Wheeler. I love this guy. Told me that it was his mom who taught him about faithfulness. That being faithful to God and to his calling on your life is the most important thing. And it sure rubbed off, because Caleb's faithfulness to God and to our church and to our kids is helping lead our kids and our families closer to God. I've loved getting to know Jay Robinette, our new worship pastor, and determination is what he says he learned from his mom. Conquering challenges, fixing problems, building things, and she could just do it all. And I see that determination in him, that God comes first in his life and in our worship. I love it that none of these guys are wasting their youth sitting on the sidelines, fastened to their past or waiting for some romanticized future. They are worshiping God with what they have been given now, in the here and now, and they are leading us in the here and now to God. I remember at some point I was learning so much from the Bible, and I was hanging around Christians, that I actually started to change my mind about marriage. Those 3 ifs that I was seeing in 1 Corinthians 7 were things that I actually kind of wanted, for the rest of my life more than I had realized before. And I was reading in there that marriage was important. Marriage actually reflects God's image. That marriage actually reflects who God is. Marriage reflects God's love for people, a never-failing love that doesn't give up. Marriage was so precious and so powerful that I realized if I wanted this gift of marriage, it'd be best if I waited on God to give me it, because I knew I'd screw it up if I just took it. So after I realized that my young man girl crazy was going to kill my young man Jesus crazy, I stopped dating and I just dove into my relationship with God and serving in the church and sharing Christ. And those were just awesome years. And in the meantime, I would just bargain with God in prayer. Oh God, all I need is you. That's all I need. But just in case you do have a girl for me, then I just happen to have a list I've been writing out. She needs to be head over heels in love with you, God. And she's got to be gorgeous. I mean gracious, of course, Lord, right? I mean, she's got to be filled with your Spirit's love and joy and peace and patience and cuteness. I mean kindness. And the list just kept growing and growing in every direction till I felt like I was asking for Wonder Woman or a miracle or the female version of Jesus himself, right? Well, then this gal named Renee showed up at my church, and she volunteered where I was volunteering, and we became friends. And I looked at my prayer list, and I looked back at her, and I looked at my prayer list again, and back at her, till I realized she was all that I'd been praying for and more. And we dated, and we got engaged, we got married. And to this day, I still wonder how in the world this Christian girl with her one mom and one dad, county fair queen, Delta Gamma sorority star, voted most likely to marry a doctor, Butler graduate, co-owner of her line of women's professional clothing stores, serious, stable Christian woman searching for a serious, stable Christian man to start a serious, stable Christian family and live happily ever after. How did she end up with this guy? Yeah, that guy. Yeah. How? With crazy hair and a crazy background and just all out crazy. Nothing to his name. Teaching at a kindergarten just to put himself through college while still living in his parents' house. How does that happen? I will tell you how it happened. I have done the math, and the explanation is clear. There is a God, a miracle-working God, and He loves me. He loves me. I think He loves me more than anyone else on the planet, or at least more than Renee, because she got the bum end of that deal. Love this lady. She changed my life in so many ways. The first few years had its challenges. We were such different, independent people with our own histories, trying to discover the art of what we've been trying to live out ever since. How do you be that one person, that one flesh that Paul says that God had created us to be in marriage? I like the simple way that Paul puts it in verse 4. He says, in marriage, the wife does not have sole authority over her own body, her own life anymore, but yields her body, her life, herself to her husband. In the same way, in marriage, the husband does not have sole authority over his own body, his own life anymore, but yields his body, his life, himself to his wife. Early on in a marriage, if we're sensitive to it, we will start picking up on the 3 S's in the Bible that spell success in becoming the one person, the one flesh that God designed us to become, reflecting God Himself. Namely, that we submit ourselves, which means we voluntarily give ourselves to each other, sacrifice for one another, and we serve with each other. Because when we practice those 3 basic Christian practices, and we practice them in marriage, the more fulfilling our marriage becomes. Because we find ourselves growing stronger together, not farther apart. And I love being at a church and on a staff team where we get to see young love and marriages, like Wes and Megan Cates. Just 2 years in from wedding bells, they're rocking marriage and they're rocking student ministry here too. Wes says he got his heart for people from his mom. Megan says she learned how to listen and love and fight fair from her mom. And both credit their moms for their fun senses of humor, which we all get blessed by. My teens love Wes and Megan, and more importantly, my teens actually love God more because of them. I asked their advice to couples, and they said, just enjoy being together. Learn to love and serve each other in good times and bad. And also, make sure to have plenty of belly button fun. Not sure exactly what that even means, but I'm not sure what to say about that. But you know what? These two are rocking these years. When they're learning that they got to not only submit and sacrifice and serve for God, they got to submit, sacrifice, and serve for one another. And I would argue that these aren't just the keys to success in a marriage. They're keys to success for a family too. I love those early years when Renee and I were working hard to have kids. I like that work. It's fun. I was always ready to clock in. No part-time for me. No full-time. I mean, it's just full-time. Give me overtime, in fact, I'll just tell you. But those years were also challenging. Dealing with infertility, even losing some to miscarriage along the way. But in those years, we had to learn to lean all the harder into loving God and loving each other through the difficult things. When kids finally did come along, they changed our lives, and kids will do that. And that change is not necessarily all rainbows and butterflies and unicorns. It's 1 or 2 or 3 or more lives that you will find yourself submitting your resources and energy to, sacrificing your schedules and your priorities and your minivan for, and serving for decades to get them up and running into the world as their own people, and you don't get reimbursed. Sorry, I don't mean to be a downer here, but those who choose God and choose marriage and choose kids, you chose an uphill climb, right? But all the more reason to dig in with all your heart to your relationship with God and your spouse, your kids, your family. It's been fun to be around young marriages and families at church and on staff that are learning how to love God and all these extra things as well. And like Alex and Christina, celebrating 5 years of marriage and little toddler Cece in tow as well. And Alex said he inherited his love for reading and his ability to cook his notorious ramen noodles, right, from his mom. Christina said that she loved how her mom invites God into everyday situations and celebrates life in all of its seasons. Their marriage advice is always go to the throne before the phone. I like that. And for fellow moms, Christina just says, look, don't rush the phases that your kids go through. They're going to go by way too quick anyway. I'm so glad that she's leading our team in the nursery and connecting moms and mom to mom and more. And God is using her to bless him and bless her young family and bless our church family too. And such a cool addition to have Todd and Amanda Bussey join in our church family, leading our campus and our staff. And married 12 years with two cool kids, Noah and Micah. Amanda says that what's been extra helpful to her being the best wife and mom that she can be in the here and now is just having that example to look back on from her own mom. Her own mom's life, how mom just loved Jesus through her actions and demonstrated kindness and helpfulness and hospitality better than anyone Amanda's ever known. And I love that. Moms, parents, know that young lives are watching you and learning from you. So keep Christ in the center. Keep it together. Keep loving your kids and all of God's kids.